and then anything else we need to discuss. Welcome back, Gainesville. What's going on? It's your boy Jake Jenkins right here on WMBT 90.1 FM The Beat. Right here on Stay Woke Gainesville, and I have a very, very special guest, good friend of mine, Miss Chanae Jackson-Baker. How you doing?
I'm good.
Cool. We've been discussing a whole lot today, just kind of touching on the surface of things that we will be discussing and some pressing issues here directly impacts us all right here in Gainesville, especially on the east side of town. But I want to move on to affordable housing. I'm thinking about Miss Inquanda right now, because she always says affordable housing ain't always affordable. You know what I mean? She and I always like to hear her say that. But it's just because of the point that it really brings out, it reveals is that, so could you kind of talk about that a little bit, just about, we were talking about just now about the new development, right? Well, Kennedy Homes used to be.
Oh, Heartwood.
Yeah, Heartwood. Could you kind of just give us a brief, a general knowledge on the whole topic there, please?
Well, number one, with Heartwood,
right.
When you're looking at homes that are starting out at $165,000, and then you're looking at the income for people in that particular area, that means that those homes are not for people that already live in the area, that's a major frustration.
Right. That's crazy.
When we talk about affordable housing, it's actually bigger than just housing being affordable. Mm-hmm. So we got to talk about other factors. I know of many people right now that have great credit scores, but they got a criminal background. Mm. Their charges might have been 7 years old, 5 years old, 10 years old. They still can't seek housing because they have a criminal background.
Right.
It may be here, I took notes. So we went to a housing affordability seminar or workshop that the city put on Wednesday. And so the focus of this particular workshop was just trying to to put some of the information out there, but to figure out how to engage the people that are actually impacted the most. And what they stated is, in order to be able to afford to live in Gainesville, you got to make $17.19 an hour.
I don't make that.
And that's just for a 2-bedroom. That's at $894 per month. One of the slides that they put up that I thought was most interesting, they talked about workers in Gainesville and how much they could afford to pay to live somewhere. So they, like retail sales, cashiers, home health aides, preschool teachers, crossing guards, cooks, and security guards can only afford to pay $475 to $599 per month. And then let me back up before I even get into this. So what they talk about was something that's called cost burden. Whatever formula they use, they don't want you to use more than 30% of your income for your rent or mortgage and your utilities.
Yeah, I read about that.
So anything over that is cost burden. That doesn't include if you got kids. It's just 30% of your income. So even we're talking about, these are people that only can afford this, that typically might not have children. And it was so interesting when they put the slide up, I could think of people who worked in every single profession that have children that are trying to make it. And then they went on to bus drivers. So bus drivers, nursing assistants, receptionists, construction laborers, hairstylists, and customer service reps can only afford to pay $600 to $699 per month. And then there's pharmacy technicians, secretaries, bank tellers, police, fire, and ambulance dispatchers, vet techs, and probation officers can only afford to pay $700 to $799 per month. But if you're stating the average cost to live anywhere in a 2-bedroom is $894, and you need to make $17.19, and no one makes that, then we already got a problem. Then we start to look at the issues of credit challenges. We start to look at the issues of backgrounds. We got to look at the issues of previous evictions, which would make sense if you don't make the money. Right. So we got a major, major problem and a major issue as it pertains to affordable housing.
Yeah, it's abysmal.
Oh, yes. So some of the things that we wanted to address. So for Chanae, this is Chanae speaking. My personal solution whenever you talk about affordable housing is to create what's called like a self-sufficiency program. It's a program where a person might move into a particular house. The rent itself might be $1,000, but that person is only having to pay like that $500. And then, so it's similar to like subsidized housing, but what happens is while they're doing that, they're learning about credit, how to repair their credit, how to build a credit, how to build a budget. Because it doesn't matter what you do, and you can get anybody housed, but if they're still doing the same thing they was doing, you're not going to stay housed.
Right.
also to showing people the benefits. What's the benefit of me working 40, 50, 60 hours a week just to make it, and then still trying to go back to school on top of that? If nobody's showing what that benefit actually is, how can I see my way through? So when we look at social services and look at supports, it needs to be looked at in a very holistic way. Because when you address that, then you're going to address a lot of the other issues like access to healthcare, access to transportation. So realizing that everything is intersectional, we can start with affordable housing, but it touches base on so many other things. But in order to come up with the solutions that we need, the people that are most impacted have to be at that particular table. And we can talk about it and we can yell about it, but if the people that are impacted, and even too, like the city, I really have to give them their accolades. They are working really hard to figure out how to engage. They're willing to actually start to go out and knock on doors, but we have to meet them somewhere. We have to, I always tell people too, it is tiring to go and sit in a city commission meeting. But think about it, think outside the box. If that meeting is 4 hours, then you get 50 people per hour to sign up and say, you know what, I'm going to sign up and sit at a 30-minute time slot. I'm going to sit from 5:30 to 6 o'clock. I'm going to sit from 6 to 7. Your presence in that room actually means something. And when they start to see people that actually represent East Gainesville and even neighborhoods in West Gainesville that are having those particular issues, if they realize that it means something to you, then it'll start to mean something to them. And one of the things that I always preach, and I'm a girl from the hood, and I love it, you can't wait for other people to take care of your business.
Right.
And if you're having people to make decisions,
they're just not going to care about it.
That's it. And so if you think that people are going to care about whether you can house and feed your kids, and you're not showing up, why do we keep expecting them to show up? And so we got to change our mindset. And I'm not saying that it's not hard. It's tiring. It's exhausting. It make you mad. I'm mad many a day. I'm mad to the point of cursing some days. So people know that I speak freely. But it's what's necessary. And that's the reason I always say that I'm a mom first, because every decision that I make is not just about my children, but it's about other children. It's about my nieces and my nephews, and it's about the people that I love. Society won't look at the people that we love differently until we make them.
Right. No, I mean, I think what you're saying is spot on. All right. So we got about to wrap it up right now. Is there anything, any announcements you want to make? Any events going on right now this weekend? Around this time at all that you want to speak about?
The biggest thing I want to speak up on is two things, and it's all related. Number one, if you've not registered to vote, I'm sad that you haven't, so you can't vote in the city election. Get registered, and especially all my new friends that got their restoration rights restored. It was a lot of work put in there to make sure that many people were able to get their rights back. It's power in your vote. Okay. That vote gives you the same amount of power as everybody else.
And how does that work? Is there anything that any former felons, felons now that they need to, or do they just go register now?
Go to the supervisor elections and register.
Okay, well that's it.
That's what you do first. While they working out the bugs, all the other stuff don't matter. Right now, you go register.
Awesome.
So that's the biggest thing. Not only do you show up to the polls, but become an educated voter. And you don't have to be educated on everything. Be educated on the things that actually affect and impact you. If you are tired of, I'll use GRU as an example. If you're tired of GRU, the solution is not to say, hey, we need to go to state utilities. The solution is GRU is a citizens-owned utility that has policies that don't benefit the citizens. So we can debate that. I've debated it with Mayor Poe. I've debated it with Ed Bylarski. One of the biggest misconceptions here is the people in power think we don't know what we're talking about. And we do. We might not know what to ask for because that part of it is new. But that feeling of detriment, that feeling of being beat down because your utility bill is sky high and you feel hopeless, that's something that we know what we're talking about. And they can't take that. But when you have a policy where people have to pay the utility bill by 7 o'clock, that should never be a policy of a citizen-owned utility. When people are paying double deposits because they have poor credit, that's a policy that should never be in place at a citizens-owned utility. So my thing is, no, Jerry, you can't reduce rates. I don't care for middle of the road at the state. None of that stuff to me is actually relevant at all. If a person is living below the poverty line, that's not relevant to them either. We got to get to a point to not only ask for things, but to know what we're asking for and make them be accountable for changing those particular things.
That's what's up, man. Well, hey, we're going to be back maybe next week or a week after that, just, depending on our schedule. But definitely check us out next week at 1 o'clock. I did have some quick announcements on some things that's going on this weekend. I got word from the ladies of Zeta Phi Beta. Tomorrow they're going to have an afternoon with Zora, which they're going to be discussing a lot of Zora Neale Hurston's works and that sort of thing. That's going to be at the Cotton Club tomorrow. at 3:30. So make sure you guys go by there, 837 Southeast 7th Avenue. Right now, actually, there's a summer sign-up and barbecue bash at the Eastside Rec Center at Fred Cone Park at 2841 East University. And, parents and children are signing up for summer activities. They have limited scholarships, gift cards, doing raffle prizes, as well as they're going to be giving away some AirPods out there. So y'all go, and free food. So go check it out. As well as a live church. They're going to be at Duval Elementary, too. Up until about 2 o'clock. So all this stuff is wrapping up right now. So see if you can go swing by and check it out. Free food and bounce houses for the kids. Just some things to do with the family. Don't go nowhere, y'all. Keep it like right here, WNBT 90.1 FM. The beat, 2 o'clock hour, we're going to be doing a segment on fatherhood with Dad Can We Talk with Mr. Rashad Ray. So y'all keep it locked right here, man. Don't go nowhere. Thank you, Chanae. I appreciate it, baby.